the Exchange Place podcast. Yeah.
I just love the sound effects.
I know, right? I just love that you are here with me.
I love being here with you.
I have. You guys know who I have in the building. Do you recognize her voice? Babes, you haven't been on the podcast in probably like 2 months.
Yeah,
almost.
because you did the men's, oh my God, and it was remarkable. The men's month.
Yes.
It was awesome.
And you shared your husband with us.
I did.
And I was
And
so
he had a
happy to
wonderful,
have him.
he had a wonderful time on
I
here.
know.
Wonderful exchange. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. So, I had to bring you back.
I'm grateful.
And before we end the season, I thought it only right that I bring you back for a number of reasons.
Okay. To make me cry is one.
Always to make you cry, because that's what we do here. I'll try not to make you cry too much. Right. But speaking of the Men's Month, we talked about how they choose their partners. Yeah. And I really think so. 2 things. I think in culture, and I'll talk about me. Growing up, I never thought about relationships, like when we talk about relationships, that women got to really choose.
Right.
More so that we were the choice.
Right.
Right? And during my journey of relationships, and I won't say bad relationships, I will say lessons in relationships, I learned that wasn't true. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't the person that's going to come find you, swoop you off your feet.
It wasn't Prince Charming like it was in the cartoons that we were watching growing up, or the movies. That it just may not happen that way for us, right?
Exactly. And that we also choose people. We get to choose. Like, we get to choose our mates and what they bring to the table.
Absolutely.
And I know that there's 2 things, again, that's part of culture's way, in the sense of, and when I say cultures, I mean, I think that has changed a little bit, but I think the focus is more on what's in the bag.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what people have and financially.
What are you bringing to the table?
What are you bringing to the table?
People think like that all the time.
And more of a list of things that women are looking for.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you remember the list of things that we drafted?
I just read that.
You did? Yes. So I remember.
You gotta share.
Okay, so I remember when we were at Christian Love Baptist Church on the altar, and we were just praying that God would send us gifts for Christmas.
It was Christmas. It was Christmas gifts.
And we had a long list of gifts that we were asking of the Lord, and it included a mate.
A mate, yeah.
But not just a mate. For yours did, but
characteristics of that mate.
Of that mate.
Yes.
Down to the teeth, to the ears, down to the head.
You know what? I gotta add the back.
The back.
The back. I gotta think for a bit.
And the heart.
And the heart. And the heart. And the heart. And the heart. But no, I had really specific things. And funny enough, I sent you a piece of that because I had broken down. It wasn't just about mates. It was about the wife that I want to be.
Right.
It was about my giftings.
Yeah.
It was about what I'm doing right now as well. It's just so beautiful. That was 2010.
It was 2010. Wow. Yeah.
I'm still waiting on my mate, but listen, it's worth the wait.
And while you wait, you're serving, which I love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Waiters serve.
That's what waiters do.
That's what waiters do.
Serve.
I told somebody the other day, actually, I just got new furniture, and this is a little off topic, but shout out to House of Zawadi for
your furniture.
Blessing
flower bombing her. They didn't just bless you. They flower blessed you. Yes.
And you know what's more of a blessing? I said to her, and I said to Amber on the last podcast as well, we're talking about, she's like, I know what I want. And I was like, you know what? My prayer is always, especially now that God would give me what I need.
Yeah.
Because I've come to a place that I realize I don't even know sometimes what I want and need. Yeah. And that furniture is, I know it's furniture, so I know listeners are listening wait, it's furniture. But I'll tell them, I want to share this with them.
No, because we're going somewhere.
We're going somewhere. Just stay with us. But I told her yesterday, I was in tears. I was standing in my room, and I realized how much I had given to people and served in relationships and how much I haven't served myself.
Right.
And I think sometimes when we have those places, like sometimes we lose pieces of ourselves in that, and
well, we don't. You're serving, you're giving a lot of you away, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
And I got back something that I had no idea that I was missing. That I wanted and that I needed. That's awesome. I've been waking up feeling better.
That's awesome.
And I expect that when I get my mate, I will wake up feeling better on a daily basis.
Absolutely. I wake up feeling like that every single day of my life.
I love that, babes. But that's why I wanted you here.
Every day. I mean, and I said, I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry through this. But I wake up feeling that way. I mean, and we could go to bed angry, and I still wake up feeling like loved and adored. And
I love that, babes.
I mean, every single day of my life.
I love that. You know what I love? I want the listeners to understand, because I think so often we have relationship goals, and we get to see whether it's famous people or I get to watch you and Khalil, and I have got to watch before you guys were married.
Right.
I've watched your marriage grow. I've watched you guys define what marriage looks like for you, right? And I'm amazed, but also knowing that when mine comes, it may not look the exact same way. You know what I mean? But that I only could hope to wake up feeling that way by who lays beside me, and not because they're perfect, and not because it's without issues or flaws or any of that, but that there's just something so amazing about the connection, and it's a purpose-driven connection that I get to see. That is not just. Of course, you guys are beautiful people. So, I mean, so it looks. You're beautiful people.
Thank you.
No, babes, you guys, amazing looking couple outside, but like the inward parts, how I get to see you guys love each other and exchange is just amazing. So I want to know, because I know they're like, well, what's the show about? I guess my question to you is, you're a beautiful woman, right?
Thank God.
Right? Inside out.
Thank you,
I mean, just, you know what I mean? So I know Khalil wasn't the only person knocking on the door. You know what I'm saying? So, no, he wasn't.
Well, I mean, so maybe, and I'm just going to self-disclose today, because I just feel like the exchange is such a safe place. And I just want to thank you for being my safe places, because you are my secret bearer. There's nothing that I've ever shared with you that has gone outside of our space, but I feel very comfortable now to share this in this space. So a lot of people don't know that Khalil is my second marriage. That I had. I failed in my first marriage. And I say I failed, I really felt like I was the one who failed, because I couldn't endure what I was going through in that marriage. And, we were young and, dumb and stupid, and we just weren't compatible. But I chose that gentleman in that first marriage. And what I love about and not to disparage him or that, that was such an important part of my life, because it taught me so much about what it means to really be a wife.
Wow.
And it also taught me what I needed in a husband, not what I wanted, right? Because what I wanted looked like what I had, right?
Yeah.
Brother was fine, he was 6'3", built nice, hat to the back, credit score was rocking, nice car. He has swag. He had, all of this stuff.
The things that people kind
of... Right. Yeah. The things that people look at, when you're in your 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, let me not even say that. People in their 30s and 40s are still looking for that.
I was about to say.
But
be attracted to your mate. I'm not saying that.
Be attracted. But, there are other things that I think when I look back now that I wish I had, looked for or searched for.
Yeah.
But that's what I chose, right?
Got you.
When that failed, and we failed each other.
Yeah.
When that failed, I was broken, because I worshiped the ground that this man walked on. And I remember God reminding me that any idol that you build up.
Wow. Yeah.
Any idol that you build up that is not in honor of me.
Yeah.
Right? I will tear it down.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. You know, my marriage failed. It crumbled right before me, and I was devastated. Wow. And I mean, deeply devastated, depressed, had to go back to mommy and daddy and was like, please, somebody put me back together again.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how I'm going to make it.
Yeah.
And I remember telling my mom and I remember telling my friends that, you know, I don't ever want to be here ever again.
I know that feeling. Not through marriage, but I know that. Yeah.
And I won't be here ever again. I'm not getting married ever again.
Really, babes?
I remember telling myself that there's nothing out there for me, because if this is what love feels like, I don't want this. Mm-hmm. I don't want this. Yeah. And this is exactly what I thought I wanted.
Wow. But it wasn't what you needed.
So I chose that.
Yeah.
And then in my healing process, as I was healing, you know, God reminded me that there are things that He chooses for us.
Yeah.
And when I had I had met Khalil like a year before.
Okay.
And I remember seeing him and saying to one of my girlfriends, I said, who is that? And she was like, oh, that's Khalil. You know, they go back way back in the day, blah, blah, blah. She was giving me all the history. I said, let me tell you, that's going to be my husband one day.
Wow.
And not only did I say that, but I sent her, and when we had met, Khalil and I met, we didn't exchange numbers. It was just like a, hey, how you doing? Bye, right? But I remember sending her an email that night, and I still have this email, sis.
Do you?
I have this email saying,
I want to see this email.
Tell me his name again, because that's going to be my husband.
Did she think you were crazy?
She thought, she was like, girl, please. She was like, girl, just go off in a corner and heal somewhere, because you know, you're like, that's gonna be my. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm never getting married again, but that's gonna be my husband. You talk about schizophrenia at its best. So when I saw him again at there was like this game lounge game night, and a friend of mine, we had walked in, and I said to my friend, I said, is that Khalil Cunningham?
Wow,
and he said,
babes.
yes, we call him Keo. Yeah, that's him. I said, can you take me over there? I think we have a conversation that we were supposed to have that we ain't never had.
So you done pushed up on Keo.
I pushed up. I was like, you know, hey, I went up to him. I was like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Khalil, I'm Tamara. Do you remember we met at the barbecue last year? He's like, Okay, so here I am, 5'11", big black woman, okay? You don't remember who I am.
I was going to say, you can't miss me.
You don't remember who I am. So I left feeling, okay, God, marriage is not going to be
the thing for
me. I was like, all right. I said goodnight to my friend. I was like, I don't want to stay here tonight. I'm going to just go ahead. And I went back home.
Were you heartbroken, babe?
Yeah, because I had made up in my mind that God is going to have to lead me to the next person who I'll be with, because I don't want to feel like the feeling that I felt in my first marriage, right? I don't want to feel that defeat. I don't want to feel that discouragement. I mean, it felt like I was living in a dungeon. And I remember even the space that I was in was like a dungeon. That's why I just, like, everywhere I go, I want the windows and the shades open. I want bright light. I just want God's light to shine in. Yeah. And that was just such a dark period of my life, and I didn't want to repeat that. And so if he didn't remember me, fine. I just, walked out and was like, all right, good. And I went home, cried a little bit, and, just God does what He does, rocks you to sleep, and it'll be all right in the morning. And it was all right in the morning. When I got to work the next day, there was an email from Khalil in my inbox, and it said, the subject was, I'm so sorry, I remember you now. So I don't know, he had looked me up or asked a friend, I don't know. But when I got that, I was like, wow, God, thank you for remembering me. Aww. And it wasn't just Khalil remembering me. It was God remembering me. In the Bible all the time, it says, God will remember you. And not just you, but like the sacrifices that you've made, the things that you've done for people, the way you've loved people, like all of that. Like none of that goes in vain, right? That He will remember, and He chronicles your beginning to your end, your end to your beginning. He chronicles all of that, and He remembers.
Yeah. So what happened after this email? Because I'm just like, I'm over here like, okay.
So of course, I'm overwhelmed with emotion, and then I'm also like very hesitant because I don't want this to. Okay, so now you remember me, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So we go out and to dinner one night, and we've been inseparable ever since.
Wow.
But I remember having a conversation with my mom because I was just so, Khalil could tell that I had these walls, and I was just so fearful to not want to kind of repeat the relationship or the marriage that I had. So I was still like, okay, maybe we shouldn't think about marriage right now or ever. And if we're going to be together, we can be together. But I don't know if this is the right thing for me.
Yeah.
And I remember my mom saying how much when she met Khalil, how. So I had brought Khalil to Atlanta to meet my mom and my dad, and I remember. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Can I say hi, Mom and Dad?
Yeah, of course.
I remember that night, Khalil had gotten so drunk. And it was just like we were all drinking and stuff, but he was just like on the floor, and we were playing games and stuff, but you could see him like he was like slouched over. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, come on now, this is it. This is gonna be. And I remember my mom saying, oh baby, this is it. Like, you gotta love the one that loves you. You have to choose people who choose you.
Wow.
And that didn't happen in my first marriage. No, I chose him.
Gotcha.
He didn't choose me back.
Yeah.
And as hurtful as that was, it was a lesson for me, right? That it may not be packaged the way I want it to be packaged, right? Yeah. And that there are sloppy moments for Khalil, terribly sloppy moments for me. Yeah. I mean, Khalil found me in a state of horrific depression. I mean, broken, busted, disgusted, and loved me anyway. Yeah. When he found me, and when God remembered me, I remember that I had packed up all of my belongings from the house that I had when I was living in Hamilton. Yeah. And I moved everything out, and I was living in a room in Jersey City.
Wow.
And I remember I was paying the mortgage in the one place and the rent in the other place, really having a hard time to
balance both.
Balancing both because I could only afford a room. And when I tell you the room was no bigger than the room that we're in, and it had all of my stuff.
Yeah, in that one room.
In that one room. Me in that one room. And I remember Khalil came to pick me up, and I was like, oh, you don't have to come up. You don't have to come up. Just embarrassed about where I was in life at that time. And I remember saying, you don't have to come up. Here he comes driving his Lincoln down, It's like, you don't got to go. I'll come down. He's like, no, I'll come up and get you. Came up, got me, and didn't bat an eye. It was like he didn't see anything else but me.
You.
And that's how it's been since then. And I remember saying to myself, okay, when is the honeymoon going to end? And it just gets sweeter and sweeter and sweeter every single day. And it's not an exaggeration. Like, that's just who he is.
Yeah. I love the way he loves you. I love seeing, we're driving here. I got to share with the listeners. We're driving here, and this happens, I'm so used to it, but he desires to be in your presence, right?
All the time.
We're coming to the show to record, guys, and he called her just to say, like, hey, I didn't get a chance to really talk to you and ask you how your day was. And that's not made up because I'm in the car. That's like a normal interaction, and I love that. I love that you chose somebody that chose you back. I think we don't do that a lot. Yeah. I think we feel like we know what we want.
Yeah.
And sometimes know what we need without really knowing what we need.
And I think that was life-changing for me when finally my mom said, wow, So let me go back a little bit. The last kind of couple of months in my first marriage, I remember my stepdad, who I call father, saying to me, and he doesn't open his mouth at all. When I tell you that he doesn't weigh in on anything unless it's super important,
yeah.
or I remember him saying to me, "How much longer are you going to do this?" And just hugging me in that living room, in that dungeon, right? And coming kind of full circle and seeing Khalil and my mom and my dad and my father, like, you know, everybody kind of together, and this look of approval that my father has on his face that, you know, like, wow, Mara, you got it right, right? You finally got it right. That mom said, choose the one that chooses you, love the one that loves you. And I think when you're younger, it's kind of difficult because, like, the world is in your ear.
Yeah,
right?
it is,
and,
especially
and your
now
flesh too. Like it's like
a combination of both.
I think so.
It
don't
is.
you?
It really is a combination of both.
So it's like I'm thinking about what people are saying. I mean, I'm hugely embarrassed about the failure of my first marriage.
Yeah.
You know, all of this stuff, wanting it to work just because I was embarrassed. So presentation.
Yeah.
I cared about what people thought, how I looked. You know, so I, perform it. Like, I just wanted to just make it work just so it could look good.
Yeah.
Even though it was killing me.
Yeah.
Killing me.
I've been there in a different way, but I think that I think two things happen. And I'm just going to talk about me because I can't talk about anybody, but I think that a lot of times I know for me, I had a really challenging relationship that I stayed in way too long. And for me, two things. I had my life mapped out of when I had kids, this is what it was going to look like. This is how that was going to look. And no matter how much I knew, it wasn't serving me in any form or fashion. And like you said, I was slowly like dying inside. But I just couldn't let go of that image.
And so that's the thing. So why do we choose things that kill us like that?
I think at that time, I don't think for me, I think I thought that they would change. I thought that eventually, like, some light bulb would come on, that they would become the person that I really desired. You know what I mean? Like, and I thought it was, when you're young, we all grow, right? Well, not everybody, but, for the most part, people are growing, right? So that people would get understanding, right? And in all things, like, you know what I mean? Get wisdom and get understanding. So I really, in my heart of all hearts, was waiting for the transition to a different place that we could, like, see eye to eye. And I think, of course, there was a place that we did see eye to eye, or we would have never got together. Sure. But I outgrew that place and knew it. And still was just like
holding on
and pulling for me, and almost, I'll use the word carrying because I think it became a place of where I had no boundaries. Yeah. If I'm honest, I thought, hey, if I do extra, you would kind of catch up to where I was and like get it together in the areas that I wanted you to get it together in, or see how I saw, or like we didn't have value-wise, our values weren't aligned. I thought, like, I think many women do this, that we hope that if and whatever your thing is, whether it's bringing them to church or bringing them to, you know what I mean?
That he'll change.
That he will change. It wasn't a prayer that, you know what I mean? Praying for you, hoping that you would get it, and just like realizing that I was losing in the situation. So you, of course, are getting better in some form of fashion, but I was getting nothing. And I was just like, it took me a long time. Like I kept trying. So I understand when your dad was saying that to you, because I kept trying, hoping that this was it. And it took me a long time to see I saw this way, right? It wasn't I had never been, I always been like a relationship girl and kind of wanted this, and I don't want to say fairy tale, but I think at a point it was a fairy tale.
I did want the fairy tale.
I wanted the fairy tale.
I wanted the look and the feel of the fairy tale.
Yeah. And
I think for a moment, I held on for love. And then I held on for optics.
Yeah. Mine was definitely, what's funny is, if I'm honest, and I always say this, and it's a hurtful thing, not to that person, but I think with clarity is like, I know that it wasn't love. You know what I mean? I think it started out as love.
Right.
I think I manipulated that to be what I wanted it to be and wanted it to look like. It 100% wasn't. It wasn't a love thing. It was a for them thing. It was a optic thing. It was, hey, I might not be so happy, but maybe it'll come along. But that period of time became so long. It's like, I'm not full. I leave you empty. I have desires. And it was beyond, most people say, oh, when they think cheating, it's like you're kind of going to the other side because it's a sexual thing. And for me, it had nothing to do with sex, that, right? Yeah. And not that I was cheating, but it got to a point where I desired just regular conversation.
Yeah.
There was intimacy. I was about to say there's intimacy. I like to talk. There was intimacy I couldn't share with the person that I was laying next to. That I desired about my dreams and just things you should be able to share with the partner that you're with that I just didn't have. And I was just like, this can't be how it's supposed to look, right?
No.
I thank God for and this is crazy because I think my dad's death opened up so many doors, opened up a clarity and a lens that I just didn't have, where I kind of felt like, what is this relationship doing for me finally, and not what it looks like. I didn't care about, I literally woke up one day and was just like, it's a wrap.
Wow.
And it wasn't like I never shed a tear. I had already, I think, over the years more in the relationship. So it was just, how they say that women leave before they leave. Yeah. So I had already left. It was just so much going on at that period of time. With my dad being sick and everything, I didn't have the opportunity to like look at it then. Right. So when everything calmed down, I was just like, and people were like,
out of the blue, but
like,
it wasn't
what happened?
Out of the blue.
It wasn't out of the blue. It was a work up to that.
Yeah.
I had to leave. I was just like, this is not working for me, and I knew why.
And don't we wake up like that? Like when I left my first marriage, I knew the night before that it was a wrap.
It was a wrap, yeah.
And nothing had happened. There was no blow up. There was no argument. He kissed me goodbye at 5 a.m. and went to work. And I packed up everything.
Yeah.
And I made 3 trips to Jersey City.
Yeah.
Back and forth in this little Honda. And it was over.
Yeah.
And I remember him calling and saying, where are you? And calling at like midnight, saying, where are you? Why aren't you home? I said, this is the end for me. This is it.
Yeah.
And it's just like a light bulb goes off and it's over.
Yeah.
But it's been over for a long time, but we are holding on to the poor choices that we've made, and we don't realize that it's poisoning us. Yeah. It's slowly killing us.
People get dedicated to them choices.
I'm telling
you. I know because I've been there.
It will kill you or you will kill it.
Yeah.
I remember somebody saying homicide or suicide, one or the other.
Yeah, no, that's real.
Right,
that's
real. It will drive you that crazy.
Yeah.
And so I'm just, I'm really grateful to God that Khalil chose me.
Yeah.
And that
but
I'm
you
in a
chose
new
him
space.
back, though.
I chose him back.
I'm glad
and
you
that
didn't
was
miss
intentional.
it. I'm glad you didn't miss it.
I am so glad I didn't miss it.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't miss it. You often tell me, actually you told me at the beginning of the season, because I said I'm so focused on doing what I love, so focused on the passion that sometimes I forget about love now, because I did put it back on my vision board.
I'm proud of you, sis.
And I'm going to share with the listeners, that's probably one of the most, this is probably going to sound crazy, but it's probably one of the scariest things that I've ever put on my vision board.
Love?
And we, yes. Because that, well,
I'm wearing my love chain for you today.
Babes, you know, I am a love. I don't even know what to call it.
You love love.
I love love. I love love.
Yeah,
I
too.
look forward to loving.
And I love loving on people.
Yes.
Like I love people. I mean, I could be anywhere. Like we talk about this all the time. In an elevator. Sometimes I'm at the gym and I just want to hug people. I'm like,
did you know them? I'm like,
I just want to hug people. And people sometimes mistake that as you being overly friendly or flirtatious. It's, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
Like I just want to love you. Yeah.
And I love love. I love love. Forget about that. I love my kids. I'm always, well, now they don't let me hug them as much. But I remember even when they were smaller, I remember Siobhan coming to the house like, do you guys got to be cuddled up on the couch all the time when they were small? And I have one at the foot and one on me. Aww. Like I love love, right? And it's a scary thing. I just put so we did a mid-year vision board party. So I added love to my vision board. And every day I look at it, I just prayed the other day because I'm just like, okay, God. And I know why, though. I really want to tell our listeners this. I think in sometimes having, or I don't want to say searching for love, but dating in hopes to find love, which it's there. Like, and I'm not at a place where I feel like I don't have hope in that area. I 100% do. But I realize also that there is a fear. There's a fear of not getting it right again, right? And feeling what you just described, I can relate way too much. I never want to feel like that. Okay. And that's such a scary place because it's like, I don't want to miss it. At all. But I also want to I want to steward it differently this time. But it was hard putting it on I walked past it and I'm like...
I want to get back to this point because there's such an accountability for me as a wife to make sure that I am in a place of gratitude for how God has blessed me with Khalil.
Yeah.
So everything from the way that I deal with him, the way that I speak to him, the way that I honor him as my husband. And I don't care. I remember just a couple of days ago, Alyssa was just watching me and she's like, you always plate Daddy's food. And I said, yeah, because, I love him and he deserves this and more.
Yeah.
Right? And so her being able to see, right, me serving my husband, because I want her to see that that's okay. All right, great. We're in a time when they're feminists and, people are like, oh, you're doing too much. Okay, well, let me do too much. But this is the husband that I honor and the husband who honors me. And this is what works for us, right? I want her to see what that service looks like unto her mate, her spouse, right? And he serves me in the same way.
The exchange. I'm telling you, I think
in ways unimagined. I mean, in ways I can't even share.
That you,
here. Yeah. That's how he feeds my soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how he feeds my soul.
But that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah. And I think I do think it'll look different because what you need, the other person may not, you know what I mean?
True.
May need.
True.
But I think there's a big thing about service one to another that people don't get. I know Q said that reciprocity is so big. And I hope that people can get past the whole, I'm not going to do that for him.
Yeah, it's just, I don't. So every time I treat my husband like a king, he acts like one.
Yeah. Listen.
Every time.
Listen.
Every time. So anytime he's not acting like a king, I got to check myself.
I was like, and talk to him like a king.
Right.
So I'm learning, and I'm learning this through a different way, but even today, right? My pastor had done something. It was called Manology. And he talked about how what men need as kids, they still need as adults. It just looks different. So when your son comes in and you're like, show me your muscles. Like we do it to Noah all the time. And Noah's like, ugh. And we're like, yeah, look at my big man. Look at whatever. Yeah. And that same thing applies when they're older and a man,
even
right?
more. I mean, I remember Khalil and I read the 5 love languages together.
Yeah.
And his main love language is words of affirmation.
Oh, okay.
That's my last one. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't have to ever tell me I'm beautiful, I'm doing a great job. You don't ever have to tell me, because I know I'm doing a great job.
No, and you are, sis.
But he needs to hear that.
Yeah.
He needs that reinforcement.
Most men do. Yeah, most men do.
Yeah.
And I practice this now. It's so funny because I'm learning. I keep on telling people that I'm growing up. And I know that sounds so crazy, but I keep on saying that because I am growing up, because there are things that happen that I realize, even in my speech, how powerful my words are, right? And how I can build up or break down people with this, right? Yes. And especially men. I have 2 boys, right? And we had a difficult conversation yesterday, right?
You and the boys?
Me and the
God.
boys. Because we have, I probably drive my kids crazy now, because as I learn, I want them to learn, no different than what you said about Alyssa. I want to show them that, listen, in this house, we talk. So if there's something that bothers me, if there's something that's going on in my heart and I feel something, I'm going to share that. And I'm not going to scream at you to share that, but I want you to understand how I feel in certain situations. So I was at my desk today and I was thinking, we had a hard conversation yesterday, or a difficult one. And I expressed how I felt about a couple of things, right? And then today, as DJ's like, and it wasn't about this, but he like cleaning up the bathroom. He took my car. He's like, Jayden's doing stuff in the kitchen. He's straightening up. I said to them, I was like, thank you. Like, I love how you guys help in the house. Right. I love how you guys support me and support one another. And it's Taco Tuesday. I'm going to pay for Taco Tuesday for you guys because, I had other things to do and I wasn't going to be home or whatever. But I realize the importance of that. And I want to teach them that now. So when they are in relationships with the opposite sex, that they know, hey, there are going to be difficult times or difficult conversations. And there are.
Right, there are.
But on the same note, there's also celebration in what you do well. I don't want you to continuously hear what you do bad or what is not working or what, you know what I mean? I may feel a certain way about and think that's how I feel about you. So be able to express those things and balance those out. And it works. You know what I mean? To hear that, you could see just like that little kid that's like look at my muscles. Look at my muscles. That they still have that and react to that. And I'm learning that. And I pray that in my next relationship that I'm able to do that, because this mouth, like most people, you can build up or you can tear down.
I mean, one of the things, that was, so in my family, we have a lot of alpha women. I'm definitely an alpha woman. Yeah. And I know that in my marriage, sometimes I have to tone that back because I don't want to destroy my husband with my tongue. And I know that I can. Yes. And so I have to be very intentional about watching my tone. I mean, we talked about this before, how I speak, how I say things. And growing up, I mean, it was natural to kind of be aggressive in that way. Yeah. And, everyone just kind of understood that that's the way you talk. But not when you get into a space where you're sharing space and sharing intimacy with someone. Yeah. And the same tongue that you use to love, can also harm and hurt. Yeah.
And words, I hate that saying that words hurt. They hurt. I think they cut deeper because it's something that you keep and continuously hear regardless. I think about all the good things that I've taken from even my dad or other people to think about, wow, hey, I took all the good stuff. So imagine all the bad stuff. It hurts. It hurts. We have to be women.
Have to do better.
We have to do better. And I think when I pray that as people are listening, and especially the women that are listening here, that they start to be mindful of how they speak. Because sometimes I think we do it unknowingly.
We do. Yeah. I mean, and Khalil will sometimes is like, all right, babe. Like, he'll tell me. He's a gentle giant, though. I mean, he'll just kind of, gently say, now you're getting a little, and I appreciate that. And he models for me how to love him.
I love that.
He models
and when
that
you say
for
that,
me.
babes, is that just him loving you that way that you want to give that back to him?
That, and he'll redirect me, or he'll direct me, but in a very, very loving way. I'm telling you, I mean, that's how I know that he's made for me, because it's almost like magic. Like it's like
that
he
person
knows,
that calms you down.
He knows exactly what to say, how to guide. You know, he just knows me.
Yeah.
He knows me.
I love
And
that.
I just, one thing about him too is I love his heart. You know, he has such a pure, beautiful heart.
I think that
He has a heart after God.
I was
and
about to say,
that's-
babes, I think that is a lot of what makes your marriage the marriage that it is that you couldn't be the heart that you have. You couldn't be with somebody who had I don't want to say a different heart.
That is it.
But you know what I mean?
That is it. Yes.
The way you love on people, I often say that too. I really need someone who understands my heart and understands how I love others.
We love the same.
The same.
That's it. We love the same. And Khalil doesn't hold a grudge a minute past happiness. Like if you asked him right now, what was our last argument, he wouldn't be able to tell you. He would not be able to be like, I don't know. I
don't know.
If you ask me, I'd be like, well, on July 20th at 4:22,
this is what happened.
This is what happened. Here's the screenshot. Here's the text. Here's the email. Here's the, I can, but not him. No, because he's not keeping score. He just wants to be happy. He wants to have joy in our home. He wants to have people in our home. He wants to hear laughter. He wants to hear music. He just wants to live and be happy.
Yeah.
And I love that.
I love that too, babes. It makes your home feel warm. Like it makes it feel like
it does.
You can feel that
when
upon entrance. Yeah, absolutely.
And not that everything is perfect. So I don't want to also, I really want to make this point clear that we have lots of challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody does, though.
So it's not perfect.
But it is perfect. It's perfect for you.
It's perfect for me.
Yeah, it's perfect for you.
Although sometimes it does feel heavy and challenging. We have a blended family, and there are things that we have to really work through together. But I love that we do that together.
Yeah. And that it's a place, like you said something earlier, that he chose you, right? Even in the place that he found you, which for you was a kind of a dungeon, a deep, dark, depressed place.
Horrible. Disgusting.
I would love to know, though. I would love to know.
Was bad.
I mean, I know he saw you. I think that's it. I think that he was able to see you in the midst of that mess, because some people wouldn't want anything to do with that. Like, would have been like, oh, no, hands off till you come with too much, or that's too much to work through. Like, he had to see you
and
in
it was a lot to work through. I mean, and I'm a lot to work through, I think.
You're not a lot
I
to
know
work
that's
through,
what you
babes.
think, sis.
I mean,
but I can be, because, I have very high expectations of how I need to be treated as a wife, because I love so hard and I give so much. So the expectation is the person that I'm with has to be able to fill me up.
Yeah.
Has to, and Claude, he just I'm overflowing. He just overflowing. He's my person. He just does that.
He's your person.
He's my person. He just does that for
I
me.
love that you knew that he was your person from the door, though.
Oh, I'm gonna show you the email, and you can screenshot it. And
you gonna make me go back. I had an encounter like that, but it ain't come back yet.
Well, yeah.
Where I was like, this is it. And I was like, what is it? I'll let y'all know if let me check my phone. I'm good with waiting.
I know you are.
I am now.
Know,
I am.
know.
I want the right thing. I don't want the right now thing.
Wow.
I do. I can't imagine being back in that place. I know what it is to cry for months.
Yeah.
For something that I thought was it. I know what it is to really just believe something and feel like maybe not. You know what I mean? Maybe I just got that wrong and I saw it wrong. So I don't want to make the same mistake, and I want to be able to steward that relationship the right way where we're both sure. Because it's not just about me. And that's what I think about, more than anything. Of course, I want the right thing for me and not the right now thing. However, I want that person to feel that way too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want them to know without a doubt that I'm it. Like, that you know what I mean? And that exchange and that serving is going to go both ways, and that they see me and I don't have to explain me so much to them. I don't have to explain my heart to the next person. I don't want to have to do that. Yeah. I want them to know, like, nah, that's it. That's it. When they be like, is that your wife?
Yeah, like that's
my
me.
wife.
When you see him, that's me. That's me.
Yeah, I want that. But I guess I want us to leave the listeners with something. I think to really change the narrative about relationships, because especially young women, man. I had this, and I won't out them, but somebody who's in my life who's a younger woman and 20s, and she's like, yeah, I'm dating or whatever. Yeah, I'm sending my Cash App, and I'm like, what? Like what? Like what is? What's going on? And I'm just like,
it's the new thing.
And I'm asking the question. I'm like, well, do you like him? I'm just trying to see if he'll send me something on Cash App. I'm like, sweetheart, like, no, because if he's just sending you money on Cash App, first of all, on the opposite side, I have no idea where he is, but I'm just like, where are you?
Yeah. Like so words like integrity and substance and honor have been replaced with Cash App and credit score, and like these things are
you can have all that and be empty.
You can have all that and be empty.
Yes.
And not only that, the picture of what that looks like could be the very opposite of what it is that you truly need for your life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like we paint this picture of what we think we want, and that picture is like
it's always been a nightmare for me. every time I've gotten what I thought I wanted, it's never been what I wanted or needed.
When I look back, it's kind of just been abstract. Right now, my life is crystallized. I can see everything so clear. But when I look back, it was like scribble scrabble. Like, you know how you in third grade, and that's what it looks. That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And now I feel like this is the masterpiece. This is it.
I love it.
That's what that looks like for me.
I love it, babe.
So.
My prayer for everybody who listens to this from the woman's side, because I know dating. As they say, it's a little pee in the dating pool. It's a little pee. It's a little pee in the dating pool. Pee. It's hard. It's really a hard place. So much so I've kind of put it down a bit because it's really a hard place.
I get it.
And every time I kind of go back to it, I'm like,
this is not what I want.
This is not what I want, and I just don't. For me. That's just not that my husband gonna have to come knocking on my door. But I hope I mean, shut up. Maybe he will. But I don't know that he will come knocking at my door. But I feel like I'm gonna have to meet him a different way. I think it's gonna it has to happen a different way. It's not gonna happen on the apps. It's not gonna happen. I'm not set up that way. I don't have the patience to sort through the bad apples to get to those in that arena of things. Yeah. So my prayer for the women, especially, and I don't want to say just the young women, because I realize there are
older women who have the same mentality.
I'm one of the older women that's still dating. So, but I think for women in general who are dating or seeking mates and partnerships, I would really, instead of, I think, making a list of what you want, I think the clarity that I got, even rereading my letter, I did my wife portion before I did my husband's.
Wow, yes.
And it really speaks to the wife that I want to be more so than the husband I want to have.
Yeah, because the wife you want to be will draw the husband.
Exactly.
That's for you.
And I just feel like the better that I get, the more I grow, and that's my goal daily, is to be better than I was yesterday. I just feel like I'm getting better, not just for myself, but for our marriage.
And once you're married, he'll make you better. Like,
yeah,
Khalil makes me want to be a better person every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah.
And so I thank God. I thank God for him every day.
I thank God for y'all too. I thank God for the example. I love to see how you both love one another. And I always say, I say this to everybody, I love that I have the behind the scenes to watch that I know it's not a show. Right, it's not, you know what I mean? It's not
fake and phony.
No, I've seen
pony show.
I've seen the growth. I've seen, what has it been, 14 years?
It's been 10 years of marriage.
Okay.
And 13 years
13.
together.
I'm like, it gotta be 13 or 14. I'm like, wait a minute. Because I'm thinking,
I think 13.
You guys weren't married when
God, no.
You weren't married
when
I met you guys. No. When you came to Christian Love. And even that, seeing, I think you had, something happened with your foot. You were on crutches.
Yeah, I had knee surgery. I just dislocated my ACL or tore my ACL and my meniscus.
But you can, like, I just feel like love, real love, it just can't be hidden.
Right.
It's just like one of those things. I remember not knowing you and watching the interaction that you guys had. It's just like a very real thing. And I've seen that mature over these years to like be like, I
mean, I keep telling myself that this is a dream.
It's not.
It's not. Every morning I wake up and I pinch myself and it's real.
Yeah.
And I just say, I don't know, God, what I've done in my life to deserve it, but thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You guys have the ultimate balance, which I love. I'm serious. So words of wisdom. You got any words of wisdom for the people who are waiting for the right one and not the right now?
I think just two things. So the first thing I think is just to be patient, as I'm sure folks are being patient, but also to, it may come in unexpected packaging and in unexpected places. So, maybe kind of coming out of the routine of yourself and, being in places that you don't normally kind of
frequent. Gotcha.
Being around people that you don't normally frequent.
I love that.
I just, I'm just thinking about the place that I was in and the unexpectedness of the moment, and how it wasn't necessarily packaged the way I wanted it to be packaged. I wasn't where I wanted to be. There was nothing perfect about it.
I love that.
You don't have to go out with your, made up thinking that you're going to meet Prince Charming in this, it just may not happen that way.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So I think I have two too. I would say heal. I would say heal the places in yourself so that when they come, that you're better or getting better.
Getting better.
In those places. Like healing, the thing about healing it's a lifetime journey.
It is.
And I think people get to a place that they feel like I'm healed, so to speak. But I think the more that I heal, the more places I see that I'm like, I got work in this area.
Absolutely.
I have work in this area. But I can honestly look back and see how far I've come. Do you know what I mean? So I would say heal. I also would say, and I'm going to piggyback off of what you said, I think thinking that it's going to come in a particular package, and I'm not talking about physical.
No, although I am talking about physical in some respect, right? You may not have the the back.
Lord, if you can give me anything, give me the back. No, I'm just joking. Y'all have
they come with big ears and I don't know. Maybe 5'2", and I might be 6 feet. I don't know. But
I can't do. I don't know about
maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know.
I'm not gonna limit God. But when I say the package, people come with stuff, and I don't want to. I know that there are a lot of times, and I used to have this like, and I have kids. I have some nerve, but I have kids, and used to be like, I don't really want to date a man with kids. Yeah. And like, we have all these crazy prerequisites of like, hey, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that, or this is like a thing that I don't really want to be bothered with. You just never know. Yeah. Somebody who's worth it, whatever they come with. Like, if they're really, really worth it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Don't miss that,
Don't
right?
miss it. Don't miss
Don't miss that. And I'm in a place that I'm just like, you know what, Lord? Send me what I need.
Send me what I need.
Not necessarily, even the things that I don't even know that I want.
Yeah.
And just like that furniture that's sitting in my room, if you had asked me what to put, she asked me, is there anything specific that you want to design this with? Is there anything that you want me to know? Is there a color? I told her, I gave her the basics. I gave her my room is white, right? I have chrome on my furniture. I didn't even give her I love butterflies and stuff. Right. I didn't give her any of that. She gave me flower bomb, right? And I think about that. I'm wearing flowers today. Yeah. I have so many flowers around my house. My robes are in flowers. I was just like, it's something that's been in my face, but I would have never asked for it.
Unexpected.
I would have never asked for it. So I would love that people would get outside of themselves and realize that there are things that you need, and maybe even love that you don't even realize that you love.
I love it. I love it.
So babes, I love you. I love you for coming on. I love you for your willingness that every time I've asked you to come on here, you show up and show out. That's and you share does, right? And love does. And I love the reciprocity. I love that you've taught me how to love people even better.
I love you.
I love you too. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. See y'all next week.
Peace.